Sam Ricketts preparing to take on former club Wolves in the FA Cup. As the youngest manager left in the FA Cup, 37-year-old Shrewsbury boss Sam Ricketts can see the irony in having to pit his wits against Nuno Espirito Santo at Meadow today. 12 months ago, Ricketts was an academy coach at Wolves where one of the perks was picking up free coaching tips from the Portuguese maestro. I wasn't inhibited. I knocked on his office door and asked if I could watch his training. To be fair, he said not a problem, reveals Ricketts, whose League One underdogs are 54 places below Wolves in the pyramid. I grew up in an era where managers would say brilliant when you won and shout try harder if you lost. But I like reasoning behind a coach's work, and you could see that with Nuno. He was very structured and got everyone to buy into his training beliefs, which is the hardest thing. It's all about the process for him. If you're in a right-back position, you should have the same 2 or 3 passing options every time. No matter who is on the Wolves team sheet, they won't change their style. It's the same whether they play Manchester City or Shrewsbury Town. The association between Ricketts and Wolves runs deeper than coaching the kids last season. He signed as a player during one of the lowest periods in the club's history and captained them to the 2013-14 League One title with a record 103 points. It triggered a bounce-back that today sees them riding high in the Premier League. It was the start of building momentum on and off the pitch, recalls Ricketts. The club had suffered back-to-back relegations and things were a bit fractious. Big players were told they weren't going to be involved. That season in League One was the rebirth, and Nuno and the new Chinese owners have taken it on further. They've spent big money but not been frivolous with it. Ricketts' manager at Linux, Kenny Jackett, built bridges with fans by getting his players to jog around town and visit museums to study local history. It was a nod to the supporters that we knew where the club came from, explains Ricketts. We all want to win games at the weekend, but a football club also represents its community, doesn't it? It's the same here at Shrewsbury. Born with sporting genes, Father Derek was a world champion show jumper and Uncle John Frankham a legendary jump jockey. Ricketts chose football and won 52 caps for Wales as a versatile defender, thriving in particular under Gary Speed. Gary would hold 45-minute meetings just for defenders. Before the first one, you'd think geez, this could be boring, but they absolutely flew by. It was about teaching the process and I loved it. Before then, I'd never thought about becoming a coach. Ricketts took his first manager's job at National League Wrexham last May and did so well Shrewsbury snapped him up in December. Ironically, the Welsh club told him to stay away from their FA Cup second-round tie against Newport while negotiations were concluded. The Wolves invited him onto the Linux pitch last season to celebrate promotion to the Premier League. He won't do his former club any favours in his biggest game as a manager so far. I think we need to make it a little bit of blood and thunder, he admits. Wolves have Champions League players, we can't take them on in a game of football because we won't win. I'm not asking my players to kick anyone, but people do stand off a little bit in the Premier League. Let's see if they can handle us nipping around their ankles. This is the FA Cup and you have to bring a certain tempo to the game, not just sit back and wait to get beat. The two clubs are situated just 30 miles apart by the M54. Whereas Wolves boast glamorous Portuguese internationals Ruben Neves and João Moutinho, Shrewsbury will look to 11-goal striker Fejiri Akina-Burhi, who signed from Dagenham and scored in their 3-2 win at Stoke in the previous round. As a player, Ricketts once helped non-league Telford reach the 4th round. It taught me every game is winnable, he asserts. The chances of us beating Wolves are slim for obvious reasons, but that doesn't mean impossible. One potential advantage is noise from a sellout crowd of 9,800 that includes the only safe standing area in the country. It definitely helps the atmosphere on match days and something a lot of clubs will look into if they are allowed to buy the police, adds the manager. Mischievously in the wake of Bielsa's Spygate, he quips he could also have used his inside knowledge of the Wolves training ground to help. There is a canal that runs down the back, I used to run up and down it. I was thinking of taking the dog for a walk. Understandably, Ricketts is excited as a rookie to be competing with a great tactician like Nuno. Coaches like him have added a lot to our game, he sums up. If something is not working on the pitch, you have to understand why rather than just shout "try harder."